Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Mastering API Security with Layer7. My name is Mai Zidan from MBCom Marketing Team, and I'm delighted to be your host for today. Before we begin, please make sure that your microphone muted during the session, and you can use the chat box at any time to share your question. We will dedicate some time at the end for the Q&A. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Christian, API Security Technical Lead at Broadcom. Christian has incredible expertise in today's topic, and he will be guiding us through it. Over to you, Christian.
Thanks a lot. So, hi, everybody. My name is Christian Oberlé. I'm based in France, just outside Paris, and I'm basically the API technical lead for EMEA for Layer7, the Layer7 API security solution, which is proposed by Broadcom today. Some of these slides have a bit of product roadmap information. So, and the product roadmap is subject to change, and therefore all dates or all information that related to the product and future features are subject to change as per this disclaimer. We'll have a short introduction about Layer7. Then we talk about some specific use cases. We'll look into some more recent features that add a lot of value to the product. And then towards the end of the presentation, I will show you a few nice features that are available with the solution. As you may know, Broadcom has acquired Layer7 2 or 3 years ago. And since the acquisition, the product has had a lot of growth, which basically, means that there is a lot of good value into this product, and the value for money that our customer receive from this product and solution is pretty significant. Let me just turn the video off because it may eat some of the bandwidth, so the tone might be better with that. What is very nice with this solution is that as customers move into digitalization of their infrastructure, they are not penalized by the more they consume APIs, but it's somehow all-inclusive pricing model. So you're not charged by the number of APIs that you consume, which is very valuable for our customers. APIs basically are a door to all applications and systems these days. They are basically the pillar of the digital economy, and they power everything that you're using more or less. So it can be your mobile phone, your web browser, ATMs, IoT devices. APIs are basically behind all applications and systems these days, and they make the digital economy living, so to say. So as you can see here, they are a pillar of the digital business, and today there is no business without digital business. So basically they are fundamental to the economy of a lot of organizations and for the business these days. Together with APIs, you basically have increased risks. APIs are basically an entry to your to the organization's IT systems, and therefore they are a very attractive target for attacks. So what you have is you basically have two different curves. One is a curve where you have a significant growth of the API usage. And the more we go, the more we are consuming and using APIs for B2B, B2C within organization systems. And at the same time, the world is becoming more and more unsecure, and therefore it's a coincidence, but basically you need to have more and more API security, and this is where we are positioned, and we deliver a lot of value into these fields. Breaches, as you can see, are on the rise. There is almost daily news about cyber attacks, vulnerabilities, and these can have very costly consequences for organizations. It can go from financial loss with ransomware, of course, a reputation damage of your reputation, which can have indirect costs. It can have legal consequences. Today, if organizations are suffering a breach or an attack, they have to declare it. And to that extent, in Europe, there is the Digital Operational Resiliency Act that is being enforced, which is a framework to ensure that not only your system is protected, but also if you have integration with partner systems, you have protection as well to limit the spread of the attack. The cost of remediation is pretty high. If especially we are basically 2 days before the Black Friday, which is one of the biggest sales period in the US, just before Christmas. And if your website goes down, it can have a lot of costs from a financial cost, but also the remediation cost can be pretty high. It can go as far as human lives. Hospitals are also being targeted these days. So it can have consequences on that front as well. So as you can see, API security is paramount, and this is where we position. Another threat to API is what is called the quantum threat, with something that we all know about is that as the computing power increases, it will be possible at some stage to basically breach the encryption algorithms that are being used for securing the data, both data in transition through the TLS certificates, but also data at rest through the encryption of data in your databases. What is a big threat as well is that some organizations, put it this way, are basically harvesting the internet and the data in transit to be able to decrypt later with what is called the harvest now, decrypt later, threads. So they're collecting data, they're storing this data, and they know they will be able to decrypt it at some stage. So Layer7, has already this in mind, and we've been working with post-quantum cryptographic key exchange. So with the release of Gateway 11.2, which is going to come out in a couple of days, we'll be able to secure the key exchange. And this is an initial step, but I would say it's the first super important milestone for providing our customers with post-quantum cryptography protection. The reason being is that everything you encrypt starts with a key exchange. So even if you have symmetric encryption, you will exchange a symmetric key. If you do asymmetric encryption, you will have a key exchange. So our ability to support that, is a testimonial that we very serious about API security, and we are thinking ahead of what's going to happen. So I would say with us, you are with an organization that has put security at the forefront of its R&D, and you are in good hands with that respect. A year ago already, we had a very nice video from François Lasselle, our CTO for the IMS division, where he talked about this post-quantum threat, and he was explaining what the challenges are. And more recently, in our community, we posted a blog from our colleague of us that wrote about the harvest now, decrypt later threat. So it's something we've been working on for a year, and now we are about to release a solution for that. So very important to us. API security is we all know, as I indicated, is a threat, is a significant threat, and it's very hard to enforce strong security in organization. Often organizations have a lack of authentication and authorization framework, and large organization, they have a variety of systems. I recently responded to a strategic vision paper from a very large bank, and they recognize that they have branches in lots of countries, and all branches may have their own authentication and an authorization framework, so which could be a threat because it's a bit fragmented, and through the cracks you have problems. Okay, so they want to work on the consolidated infrastructure and platform, which is a challenge that most organizations have, and we all know that authentication and authorization is, I would say, number one channel for breaching your security. You have compromised secrets and security keys, so keys that are being shared between systems, especially through DevOps practices. Keys are being shared, and they should not. You have shadow API, so if somebody wants to have access to a quick API, it basically creates that API, exposes it, and here we go. You have a big hole in your IT infrastructure where there could be some penetrations, and we all know that the challenges of security often comes from internal threats. It's difficult to have access control at scale for APIs. So when you scale up, it's also difficult to enforce a security framework when you scale up across all your platforms. So these are all challenges, and real world challenges these days that we do address with our solution, and we help organizations to secure their IT infrastructure and their API infrastructure in a very easy and very easy way, especially when they scale up, as we've been as organizations are doing these days. We are no longer at a stage where they test APIs here and there, but we are really at a stage where organizations have embraced the API infrastructure, and they are building their infrastructure at scale. So our Layer7 API Security Manager platform basically is built on real-time and security integration through advanced security, advanced identity solutions, context-aware API access control, the ability to enforce the OWASP top 10. Now we also have the ability to protect access to LLMs through what we call the AI gateway, which is a starter. And it's not a specific gateway, but it's something that you can already enforce with a Layer7 gateway these days. The ability to manage your infrastructure through a Layer7 operator, the ability to leverage also in-memory data grid to have fast rate limitation enforcement, etc., through Gemfire. So this is really the pillar of our solution. We also have, on top of that, infrastructure management, API management for an easy way to publish APIs to developers. And what we have added is API intelligence. So I will give you a quick overview of those capabilities that are built into our solution into next slide. So really, at some stage a few years ago, we're talking about API management, but I think these days, what really matters for organization is API security, part of which API management is a component of, but it's much, much broader these days. And Layer7 provides a comprehensive solution for that. As I mentioned, we look at API security from ground up. Okay, so our solution is certified with common criteria, which is something pretty difficult to obtain. We have this certification because we sell the solution to some US government agency which require that certification, which is pretty hard to get. We have security first design principles. So from development to delivery, we look at security throughout the product life cycle. We have continuous scanning of our solution, especially through code scanning solutions, and we are working on our container as more and more organizations move to containerized solution, it's really important that the container, are not a vector of attack as well. So we have container hardening, and we also reduce the size of our containers. So we have removed in our container all possibilities of attacks. So basically, we don't have ping, we don't have curl, we have distroless containers, etc., etc. So this is a real work, to make sure that the solution works well, delivers what it is intended to deliver, yet on a operating system and on a surface that is not open to breaches and attack. We also deliver advanced API security solutions through financial APIs. So we have an OAuth server that also is compliant with financial API advanced and basic scenarios. So that helps organization to protect high value APIs. Think about the banking, if you have APIs to look and check your bank accounts, it's not, you may not want the same security as APIs that enable you to do a money transfer, for example. So you will have a different level of security that you can easily enforce based on the scenario and the usage of your API. We also implementing, Pixie, which is part of the financial API, but we also have the release of digital proof of possession. So when you basically use an access token, you basically prove that you are the one that basically got the access token. So this is really important, especially in the context of harvest now, decrypt later. But even without harvesting the internet, there has been breaches where the authorization code have been stolen and being misused to get an access token, for example, in the OAuth scenario. So this is addressed by Pixie. But Depop, is basically a proof of possession that you are the one that got the access token, and it's not a stolen access token on the internet that is being misused. We also have audience restrictions. So when we deliver an access token, for example, to access an API, you basically get the access token just for that API and not for the domain, for example. So these are things that we do enforce, upfront in our solution. We do support strong authentication through FIDO, multiple factor authentication, and through FIDO the usage of biometric. And we have, as I said, a strong advanced cryptography that are now available with Gateway 11.2 that is going to come out in the next couple of days. So a lot of capabilities that we provide to our customers, both in the field of authorization, authentication, strong encryption algorithms, and strong OAuth scenario support. Because OAuth is basically, the standard for protecting and securing your APIs through the usage of access tokens. So the way you get your access token is very critical when you consume the APIs, and we support those different grants and scenarios for getting access token and using access tokens when consuming APIs. As a result of that, we've been positioned again in the latest Köppinger Call report about API security as a leader. So it's a recognition and a reward for all the work that we have been doing with our solution to promote API security. I see that someone has raised the hand, so if you have a question, maybe you can speak up. If not, I'm going to continue the presentation. Some use cases to illustrate typical scenarios where our solution is being used. So in the case of banking, here we basically have the case of consumers consuming, accessing, protecting, protected banking APIs. So they first get the tokens or what is required to access those APIs through strong authentication. And then, once they have the rights and, through, as I said, multi-factor or, fingerprint authentication, and then they get the access token to get access to the protected resources. We basically have also the ability to control the incoming messages, do message validation, do throttling, do rate limitation, and then we basically connect to the backends in a secure way and deliver the information. So from basically the start to the end, we have different ways to enforce, of course, the OWASP protection, and also deliver strong authentication, message validation, avoid replay attacks. So the standard capabilities and even more that you would basically need to protect your backends. And we can integrate with a lot of backends over HTTP, HPS. We integrate with GMS queues. So we have a whole range of backend integration that we natively support with the solution. Another use case is in public administration in EMEA, the integration with a variety of backends when it comes to authenticate with SMS platforms, which was supported use case in the past, and then it transitioned. Some have integration with SOAP services, some have integration for passport services. So these are all integration solution that we do support natively with the platform. So provides a wide range of capability in this field as well when you have a need to integrate through a variety of platform to deliver service. And customers may start with one integration which is basically SOAP based, and then they have they modernize, customers modernize their infrastructures, and they move to REST, for example, or GraphQL, whilst the front end stays the same. So we'll do transformation where needed as well to be able to deliver the same experience, although the backend are being upgraded, transitioned, modified. So this is also very important to not have a disruption of service while you modernize your infrastructure. Another use case, which is for US federal agency, this is where you basically provide consumers on the left-hand side with access to some documents which have different level of security requirements. So you don't want to give same access to those documents to all people, and basically they the people accessing those documents do integrate and access access to those documents for our platform. We basically do a fine-grained authentication and authorization, and based after verification of the profile, and we do a risk-based assessment. We basically give access to the documents when permitted. So this is a very frequent use case as well. The last interesting use case, which is very relevant these days, is basically the usage of AI, which is increasingly increasing fast, as I can see when engaging with customers. And AI has its own challenges, and AI security has new challenges. One of which I would say is the cost of AI to start with. Asking or having a prompt and asking questions to a LLM, has a cost, and organizations are being charged. So you want to control that. You want to control your users using your LLM to not play with the LLM and ask silly questions. You want to prevent prompt jailbreak and abuses. You want to avoid leakages. So with our solution, we already have the ability to enforce, to be positioned, and as we are in the other use cases, as a proxy to your private LLM or public LLM, and to control what comes in, what comes out, to ensure that the consumption stays within the allocated token consumption of your organization. So there is a lot of use cases that we can already address through the Layer 7 gateway with LLM. One question is about DLP. So we have native integration to ICAP services, and we can of course integrate with DLP platforms. So we will have to look into the details of that integration, but most of the DLPs we would be able to integrate because I suspect they have supported interfaces over REST or so I wouldn't see a problem here to integrate with DLP to ensure that what comes in and what comes out is scanned, protected, and in transit. So as we already do with a lot of solutions. So in a nutshell, the use cases, what we typically address, we basically have on the left-hand side, we have API consumers. On the right-hand side, our customers expose APIs. And they basically deploy a Layer 7 gateway. This can be deployed across a lot of platforms, VMware, VMware virtual machines, as well as cloud deployment. We do support Kubernetes on different cloud providers. Can be a private cloud as well, OpenShift, VMware Tanzu. And we run on all those platforms to deliver all those use cases, which can be a combination of all of these, like proxy, integration backends, as I said, authentication and authorization. We do support SAML tokens, OAuth tokens, JOT tokens. The beauty of our solution is we're not a newcomer in this market. We've been around for a lot of many years already. So we do still support systems and frameworks that are becoming legacy, I would say, like XML or SAML tokens. So we have the ability to manipulate these tokens, extract the data from these tokens, transform these tokens. We integrate with federated identity platforms, LDAP, OpenID Connect platforms, SiteMinder, and others that you have there, Ping, Keycloak. We do XML and JSON content validation. We do content transformation between XML and JSON and vice versa. We protect against injection, NoSQL injection, shell scripts, and we do rate and quota limitation. So there is a lot of capabilities that are natively built in our platform, and these are capabilities that our customer receive upfront. It's not a pay-as-you-go model. It's not an open source model where then you have to pay to get those features, and ultimately the bill is much bigger than what you would pay with our solution. So the value for money is recognized by our customers and is pretty significant for our customers. In addition to the value for money that you get with the product itself, you have the confidence that you are with a large player in this market that has the ability to look ahead, as we have seen with post-quantum cryptography, PQC, to invest into R&D to be able for you to have the solution already there and tested when it comes. So a lot of value that you get with the product. In terms of infrastructure management, if you remember the pillars, the 4 pillars of our solution, so we basically are improving and providing our customers with the ability to manage the platform across a variety of environments through a web UI. So also ability to connect through CI/CD pipelines for patch management and DevOps. So that's pretty important. So I've been working on a blog post, and I will talk about the blog post later on, where you basically leverage Argo CD as GitOps friendly CI/CD pipeline. So we have the ability to deploy the Layer 7 solution through Argo CD on a variety of platforms, on Kubernetes. The ability to for our customers to leverage private cloud and as well as public cloud, and basically the ability to scale up where and when needed. We have customers that are deployed worldwide on different data centers, and it's very important for them to be able to easily manage the security configuration across those different platforms very easily. So this is what we provide. We address small customers, but we also address large customers that have very demanding use cases in terms of infrastructure management. So this is really important to us. We tend to focus, when you look at that product, you tend to focus on the features and function of the product that are being delivered. Sometimes the operational side is a bit forgotten, and it's something that is very important to us as well. So that's the ability to manage your infrastructure at scale. So the ability to deploy your security configuration across a variety of platforms. It can be hybrid architecture in some cases. Customers still have VMs. They have not moved to the cloud, and they will not move to the cloud with a clean cutoff overnight. It will be a smooth transition. So how you manage that transition across a variety of infrastructure, it's what we have been investing into through especially two components, Grafman and the Layer 7 operator, which I'm going to talk about a bit later on in this deck. The operator is a framework that is provided by Kubernetes, where you basically have somehow an agent that does observe your platform, analyzes the platform and the configuration of the platform with respect to what it should be or what you have defined in a manifest file. And if it's not the same, it will then act to basically automatically upgrade your platform. So we have developed our Layer 7 operator leveraging this framework, and we support the ability for the operator to basically observe two custom resources, which is the repository and the gateway. So the repository is where you have your configuration. The gateway is the Layer 7 gateway, and act basically on your infrastructure if there is a difference. So you basically can easily upgrade and manage hundreds of containers in a very automated way by the Layer 7 operator, by ensuring that your configuration that you want, your target configuration, does match what you are asking for. So, and if you upgrade your security configuration, you have the ability to automatically, with of course the security that is needed, the ability to upgrade your platform configuration in a very automated way, which is quite a powerful design pattern for managing your platform. This fits with our Cloud 2.0 architecture, whereby in a nutshell, you see here a cluster of gateways where the configuration is stored in repository. Those repositories are being managed by the Layer 7 operator, which basically observes the repository, and if the repository there is a difference in configuration, it will automatically upgrade your cluster of gateways, either by gateway restarts or by running upgrades of the gateway. So this is, as I said, very powerful for managing your gateway. For those of you that know the solution, the gateway used to require a MySQL database for storing the configuration. In this framework, we basically remove the dependency with MySQL, although we still support it, in a container-based environment. And we also have the support for open telemetry and the observability framework. So there is a lot of advanced feature that we provide in this scenario where you deploy the solution on private cloud or public cloud that are Kubernetes based. In terms of API intelligence, the API that are being consumed, basically they emit a lot of signals. Okay, you basically have request responses. You have authentication. You have IP addresses. You know who is calling what. So there is a lot of information that can be captured through your API traffic, and we basically have provided our customers with the ability to create custom, ability to capture those signals and customize those signals. So we embrace the open telemetry observability framework, and we have provided in our solution a telemetry assertion, which basically in the execution of a policy, when protecting a backend service, you can capture a lot of information and create custom dashboards to observe the behavior of the consumption of your APIs, and also as a consequence of that, manage any dysfunctioning of your infrastructure, or spot any bizarre behavior. So there is a lot of work we have done around that to provide our customers with the ability to create custom monitoring and custom visibility of your solution. This is here an example of an agency in the US, where basically they expose an API, and this API is being consumed by different agencies. So we can have customized dashboards by saying, okay, who is consuming that API, which agency is consuming which API, and have real customized dashboards. And it's unlimited. So you can create where you have authentication and authorization. You can have dashboards of which organization authenticates, where are the people located, etc., etc., etc. So there are a lot of information, business information that you can extract from your API traffic, and also take proper action if there is something misfunctioning, or you want to have more business insights of your API consumption. So very valuable information that you can customize by using this telemetry properties and assertion in our solution. With Gateway 11.1.2, so already available, we also have a new open telemetry capabilities, so like custom attributes for traces, spans, and metrics, custom resource attributes, package handling. So a lot of features that we provide to our customers to have really, I would say, fine-grained observability framework that they can put in place with the solution and the platform. In terms of API management per se, we provide through our portal the ability to manage APIs as products. So in large organization, you have different categories of consumers, and you don't want to manage the access to those APIs API per API. You basically may say, okay, let's say I have a bundle of APIs. I want to group them together and give access to that bundle of APIs to one category of people. So this is something you can easily do with our solution, and also attach rate limitations on that. We have the ability to enforce compliance, and provide a customized developer user experience. We have the ability to provide API documentation in the solution, and as well as API business monitoring, as I've been mentioning. So a lot of ability to basically provide at scale API governance. As you can see here, you can create policy template categories. So you can say, okay, for authentication, I have different authentication framework and capability. I can authenticate with an API key, with OAuth 2.0, and you can create your custom authentication framework. You can put this in the policy template category and decide, if the policy templates has to apply for REST API, JSON API. So you can manage this category. And when you expose an API through the platform, you can decide easily what type of policy templates has to apply or not. And what type of protection you want to have. So this is a simple example where you can select templates from your different from your basically toolbox of policy templates categories, and ensure that you have easy enforcement of API security governance across all your APIs in a very easy way. And I would say in a non-developer way. So when you expose an API, you can have some people that create those, requirements for security, and then you have an API manager that will basically say, okay, I know I have to apply this, and that, and it doesn't have to know the nitty-gritty details of what's behind. He has basically a toolbox which he picks from to expose the API. We also have the ability to define rate limits and quotas, which we call RLQs, per API, per organization, or application consuming the APIs, or per product, as I have mentioned. So, again, at different levels, we can enforce API consumption, rate limits and quotas, and security. And all of this is very easily customizable to adjust your API security governance that you want to put in place. So this is an illustration of the scenario which I described, where you basically have the security architect that designs those policy templates, and then you have the product manager when he designs the quotas and uses those policy templates when exposing and publishing an APIs through the portal, and then these APIs are being consumed by developers, the one that are basically on the left-hand side, the application developers that want to connect to your API, so they can test the API, they can see the documentation of the APIs, they can test the APIs, and they basically they can consume the APIs within the governance and security framework that was put in place by the API manager and the security manager. So what we have been working on is to provide the ability to also have a very strong and I would say a very convenient user experience for all the parties involved into the API, I would say, framework. So the API security manager, the API product manager, as well as the developer consuming the APIs, and all of that within a very secure, I would say, ecosystem or infrastructure. More recent features we've added to the platform. So for those of you that have been exposed to the solution, we basically have put in place over the last few months a framework where we want to give access to a lot of features in a very easy way and a bit ahead of the GA. So we had experimental features, preview features, and GA features. What we are going to do with, as of the next release, which is going to come out in a couple of days, a lot of those preview features, which can be used in production already, but were in the previous stage, are going to be moved into a GA release. Okay, so we also, with this 11.2 release, we're going to have a web-based policy manager, and I'm going to show you that, which will be included in Gateway 11.2, and gradually over the next year and a half, 2 years, we'll replace our, I would say, existing since day one policy manager that was used to create your policies for when exposing APIs. And we also have coming with Gateway 11.2 the security manager, so the ability to manage monthly platform patch and monthly secure patch through the platform. So I'm not going to go into each of these features, preview feature. I'm going to give you some sample. So Open Telemetry Framework is now GA. usage of Gemfire as a data store, in-memory data store for quotas is going to be available. Redis will be supported through different, as an alternative to Gemfire, will be supported with will support a different Redis flavor. We have policy as code, support for environment variables. So I will go quickly through some of these features that have been available as preview and are now GA features. One key component and one key features we have released is the ability to manage your gateway configuration as code. So, in a nutshell, you have your gateway configuration, which is basically something that is dependent on your environments, like dev environments. You may have different JDBC connection or GMS connection or certificates and keys for your developer environment. You have also components and configuration that is common across environments, like encapsulated assertion or cluster-wide properties. And forgive me, this is a bit more specific to the people that know the solution. And then you have something that are very specific to your policies. Okay, so we now have the ability to manage all of these through JSON or YAML file, and we can export this configuration and we can explode it. So it's a set of JSON files into a repository, and you can implode that and create out of these a new bundle configuration. So Graphman is a tool that has been out there for a year and a half, that complements and RESTman, which was basically based on REST APIs, and Graphman is based on GraphQL APIs. So it's much faster, much more efficient, and it's a pillar also for the new PM2 Policy Manager interface. As part of that, so we manage policies as code. So if you extract a policy here, you can see that for this simple policy, you have an XML file with policy as code. It's much more readable. You don't have base64 encoding. You can easily modify it and configure it. So this is really one also a big advantage of the usage of Graphman, is that we transition to policy as code and move a bit away from XML, which is was the base of our solution. Policy Manager 2, so what is called Policy PM2, is now a modern web-based UI replacing or that is going to replace the existing Policy Manager. It's the same and different. So the look and feel, it's web-based, but you will have the same overall canvas with the set of assertion on the upper left that you can drag, drop, and configure to create your policies into the main canvas. Longer term goal, it's integration with the portal. Has a lot of new benefit because you can manage the dependencies when you import a policy, and I will show you that. You can also export Graphman bundles to import into another gateway. So the management of Graphman bundles, which is possible through a CLI and which has been possible through a CLI, available on our Git, community Git repo, is now embedded into also the policy manager, the PM2. So this is a very important milestone for the product going forward. Open telemetry, I've been talking about open telemetry. So we basically, some customers are using Dynatrace, some are using Splunk, some are using Elastic, and each customer was basically asking, do I need or can I install an agent on the gateway to send these metrics, traces, and logs for observability? So here there is no need to install an agent. We have the Hotel SDK, which is embedded and delivers a lot of capabilities already. You can still install an open telemetry agent and not a custom agent per observability framework. Logs, traces, and metrics are sent to the collector. The collector can be a global collector running on your platform that manages the data for a variety of components, or it can be a collector running as a sidecar container on the gateway. And this collector will send the data to whatever observability framework that embraces the OpenTelemetry frameworks. This is the list of vendors is available on the OpenTelemetry website, and most of the observability providers like Dynatrace, Splunk, Jaeger, Prometheus, Grafana are embracing this framework. So for us, it's a big milestone forward. For those of you that know the product, we used to have precision API monitoring, which was a custom agent to send data to the DX02 Broadcom platform, observability platform. And longer term, precision API monitoring will be replaced and will support only the OpenTelemetry framework, which is becoming the standard in this observability environment. So this is an illustration of what you get. Here you can see step by step the execution of the policy and the results of your observability stack. And I'll show you this live in a few seconds. I've been talking about the telemetry assertions already to be able to create custom metrics. We also have distributed rate limit assertion support. So if you have a cluster of containers, you basically have a bucket, and your rate limit are like tokens that you consume from the bucket, and it really enables you to have address use cases where through your load balancer you configure a traffic that goes to one gateway only. So you have real the rate limit is not shared across the cluster. I would say it's shared in the sense that it's not say you have a rate limit 100. So when you share it in the old days, you would say, okay, I give 30 to each gateway. And if all the traffic goes to one gateway, well, that gateway will only have a capacity of 30 transactions before the rate limit is the transactions are blocked. Now, when I say it's distributed, is that it's not 100 divided by 3, it's 100, and the traffic can go to one gateway. This gateway will be able to have 100, or it can be equally shared across the gateways, and it's really a real time or a real sharing, and not a mathematical sharing of the distribution. So a lot of benefit to have this distributed rate limit assertion that we support. Here is an example of the configuration. We have the support of Gemfire. So as I mentioned, Gemfire is now provided by Broadcom. It's a Broadcom solution. So for our customers, it prevents them for purchasing a dedicated Redis or Hazelcast license for using an external or another key value store platform. So we have Gemfire that is provided. For these specific use cases, you also support Redis and Hazelcast. And we have multi-region support for that in-memory grid as well. So the Gemfire enable assertions, we have the secret breaker, throughput quota, distributed rate limit, store to key value storage. So everything related to key value storage, storing, looking up, removing, protection against message replay, SAML token profile, and token SAML token validation. So a lot of use cases that we support with Gemfire and the solution. Key value storage assertions, so we can have the ability to store into key value store. This slide I forgot to update it. We now have Hazelcast, Redis, and Gemfire. And when you store a message or data into your key value store, you basically have a response that you can act upon and decide what's the next step and what's the business logic based on the storage capability or retrieval capability. We have support for external OAuth token providers. So we have our, as I mentioned, built-in secure token service and OAuth platform, but some customers have an external token provider. So we can also now connect to those external token providers and validate token in the fly, or if we use JOT token, validate the token by the gateway without calling the token provider each time. So this is the scenario that is outlined here. So we have full support for external token providers, as shown here. Secret breaker assertions, we improve the secret breaker assertion to also have percentage-based failures. So it's not a fixed number of failure rate, but it can be a percentage. So if you have, say, 5% of your assertion or 10% of your assertion that fail, you basically, jump over and you for a certain duration. It can be routing failure, policy failures, or latency failures. So, very a lot of flexibility into the enforcement of those secret breaker capability that we have added to the platform. We now also have a container gateway that is ARM64 natively supported. Why that? A lot of our customers basically have noted that running platforms on ARM chips is much they have better deals with ARM chips and boxes. So there was a big demand for ARM native support, which we now provide and deliver. Layer 7 intelligence, we are expanding the role of the portal from API, publishing and API conception to the ability to drill down into your policies through a UI. So I'm accelerating a bit here. So the gateway will basically, provide a configuration to an intelligence stack, and will provide the UI to be able to drill down and look for, specific configurations. So I'll show you through a couple of screenshots. Next step is we'll be able to we're developing and working on the MCP stack for AI. So you'll be able to interact with your gateway through AI prompts and integrate the gateway into agentic AI. So this is something that is high on our agenda for the next coming year. So, for example, through the intelligence stack, you can say you can create rules and say, okay, show me all the services and policies that are exposed that have a certificate or that are consuming or using a certificate which is expiring the next 19 days, for example. You can say, so here you have the result, you can display the attributes of the certificate, but you can also create other rules like, okay, which are the policies using JDBC, and those JDBC do not use SSL, for example, for protection. Or you can create more complex rules, by combining, queries. So this intelligence stack is really powerful for managing a large number of APIs and basically monitor, not in real time. No, it's not the open telemetry intelligence. It's really monitoring your APIs and ensuring that you have a proper knowledge, a deep dive knowledge of all the policies and services that you expose. Bear in mind that we have customers that have hundreds or thousands of APIs, and it's not always easy to having an in-depth view of how those policies are being executed, or if there are breaches and if they are compliant, etc., etc. So this is a real powerful tool to do intensive monitoring of your APIs, but from a configuration capability. A couple of features that we have provided recently with our portal 5.4, custom roles that you can fully configure in your platform. So you can create custom roles for and give attributes or give rights and permissions for API creation, application creation. So full flexibility on custom roles, the ability to edit APIs in bulks. So if you want to assign APIs to an organization in bulk, you don't have to select one API after another. You basically select all the APIs and then you assign them to an organization. So capability to bulk edit your APIs, which is also important when to enforce, or if you have a change of your governance framework, which I talked before, and you want to apply the governance framework to a lot of API at the same time, you can do this in bulk. You can remove APIs in the past. to remove an API, you had to first, deactivate it. You have to remove it from an application. Now you can force the removal of the API in one step, which is quite, much better. If you see a security breach or something bad happening, very fast you can just remove the API. We have improved filter management. If you want to search for APIs in your catalog, you can select, what filters, and then do filtering on those different API components. So AULA, description, access, what type of API. So a very strong capability on that front. So these are some of the more recent features that we have added to the product. And as you can see, we have a very, it's not a dying product. It's quite the opposite. It's a product that has had a lot of improvements, upgrades, new features, both from a features and functions as well as from an operational standpoint. And we continue to do that going forward. So this is a quick snapshot of all the planned releases. We are currently here about to release Gateway 11.2, re-released Portal 5.4 a few weeks ago, and we're going to release, in next coming year, a lot of improvements, both for the portal, the OTK, and the gateway. In terms of the 3-year roadmap teams, we'll work on our pillars. So real-time API security integration, API intelligence, so supporting new API threats, new API standards, lower cost of management for the management of API management, improving the ability to enforce governance, API governance, API intelligence. Everything related to observability, API traffic, and something important to enforce here, we develop features that are really needed by our customers. So all the features that you see here are features that our customers are going to use. They have been asked for. We're not developing features to shine in a report, or features that will not be used. We develop features that are really leveraged and used by our customers. And of course, one of the strong area of developments will be the AI framework. So the ability to interact through, as I mentioned, through MCP gateway, to integrate our gateway through MCP. So basically, the idea here is I have a prompt, and I can ask questions. So it's such as, show me all the APIs that are using JDBC connection. Show me all the APIs that have not the OWASP protection. So these are functional design queries. You can have operational queries, and look at your traffic, and analyze your logs and your traffic. So AI can bring a lot of value, and we're already working on some of these use cases with some customers. What we observe is that a lot of customers are basically trying out, testing. They see areas where AI can improve the operational capability of the platform, as well as the enforcement of policies and security. And we basically are working hands in hand with a lot of customers to improve our solution and address those needs. As you can see, 27 and 28, there are less or fewer topics, because this is a whole new area, and a lot of customers are basically testing, trying out. So those fields will be filled as we move forward with 3 years from now is a very long time in the field of AI. So definitely more features that we'll add. We have in terms of delivery, we have PIs. So this is public on our we have product increments. PI stands for product increments. This is public on our community page. We are currently in PI 42, which ends January next year, and we'll have groomed already the topics for PI 43, and this is all available on our community page that you can have access to. So this is our community page. When you log into our community, you have a detail of all the features that we plan to deliver going forward. So I'm not going through all of these features. I've been talking about some of these features, but we basically publish what we do, and we do and we do what we publish. So we have a very strict, I would say, cadence and list of features that we deliver on a regular cadence over the past few years, which is pretty strong. So this is the current, list of features for the portal and the OTK. Some of them have already been delivered because API spans over 3 months. So we'll have upgraded the portal. We delivered, like custom roles. This is already available in Portal 5.4. So this is the list of features that we plan to deliver. Some of them are already available as the delivery has already occurred. So this is all public. The other thing which is very strong, I talked briefly about the community. So there is a lot of capability available on our communities, blogs, videos, and we also have the office hours. Every month we do a technical call. So the next one is in January due to the holiday season and Christmas time. So we'll have the next office hours in January, and we usually pick a topic. So the previous one was about the Gemfire capability, and the one in September was about the Layer7 intelligence framework, which I talked about. So the ability to drill down into our APIs and inspect our APIs. And I strongly recommend, these are all available on YouTube. So I do suggest you have a look because it gives you a pretty good overview of those capabilities. And these office hours, if you attend, it's also a unique way to have a direct interaction with our product manager. We also have the IMS and API Academy, where there are lots of videos, how-to tutorials, certification programs. A lot of material is available there as well to get better insights and knowledge about our solution. With that, let me switch and show you, to conclude, a few capabilities. So I will show you the PM2 quickly, OpenTelemetry, AI, and the intelligence layer. And these are screenshots from our community page where you can see some nice articles, especially around one that was recently released about LLM. So yeah, a lot of content available on the community. So let me switch gears, escape the presentation, and go. So this is the community portal where you see the releases I'm talking about. So all available at this address. The paper about grab now, decrypt later, one of the blogs, which is interesting. And I'm going to show you. So this is the legacy policy manager. So I'm connected to a gateway that is running on the Kind cluster locally. So just so that you see the difference. So this is our legacy policy manager, which is a Java client. Okay, so you have here the list of assertions, okay, that we provide to protect your APIs. And here I have my canvas, I have a test API, and I'm basically routing to a backend API. Okay, but I have different APIs here. I have a simple API where I basically have a lot of things I do, put it this way. Here I have a simple hello world. I just say return a hello world response, right? So with PM2, which I now have here, I'm going to log here into my gateway. Okay. You'll see that you basically have, the same services as you have seen in my policy manager. Okay, so the canvas is similar. So if I go to my test services, okay, I take test one, for example, you see here I have my policy. I can drag, drop, configure, like authenticate user. And once I drag, drop, I automatically have here the ability to configure the assertions. So the user experience is improved, okay? And for each service, you can, click and add comments, okay? So configure, so you can create new services. But the beauty here, and you can also manage, the cluster-wide properties that you see, okay? But the beauty I wanted to show you, I'm going back to services. Let's reload. Okay, this is a near final version. Okay, so it's still a beta version, but if I have here a folder, okay, of services, okay, in the past to export that with RESTman was pretty cumbersome, and now you basically right click on the folder, you can do an export, okay, and you can select what you want to export, okay. So you can export, the services and policies. I have my different services. I can export, I can, check which one I want to export. I can also check the dependencies, and I have a dependency graph, okay. So this is really powerful. So I can basically observe the dependencies. These policies, is depending on what, and what are the dependencies depending on, or is dependent of. Okay, so that's really powerful. You can also define the mappings when doing exports, for example, and the same holds for imports. So here, for example, if I want to import a set of service, okay, I have here audit policy. Okay, I'm going to import it into my gateway. Okay, and this is leveraging a Grafman bundle in the background. I can select then, what I want to import. So I can select my cluster properties. I may decide to not import my cluster properties. I may select, by default, what is the mapping. So it will, if it's updating it or creating it when new, or just updating it, or just ignoring it if possible. I can select my NCAS. Here I see I have an NCAS, okay, that will be imported. And I can, of course, see my policies. So I have two folders, with policies in the folder, okay, and I can choose to import it. Okay, so here I basically am going to import everything. I just import it, okay, and if I go to services, okay, I see that I have my policy that have been imported. Okay, so right away I see my policies. Here I would have to do a refresh. Okay, and I see my folder with my two policies, my NCAS, etc. So again, very powerful, and that's basically a pretty nice capability that we have in our solution. If I click on one of those policy, I can see my comments, my audit message, etc., etc. So I can configure my policy as I was doing here. Okay, if I take here my audits, okay, I see exactly, but I have to double click, see to configure it. So that's what we going to release with PM2, and it's almost on par with PM1. Okay, so there are still a few features that we're going to add. I'm going to expand it, but a lot of nice features into this capability, and especially the ability to export. So to export policies and services. So if I want, for example, to export my folder here, I can say export, and I'll see exactly what is what is in there, my policies, my templates, the dependencies. I have 8 dependencies here, my cluster properties. So I see this service depending on cluster properties. So extremely powerful tool. And when it's exported, you basically have here a Grafman bundle. Let me show it to you. This is an example of a bundle. Let me open one. Open the bundle. Give me a second. Yeah, this is my Hello bundle. Okay, so this is the Grafman bundle that you have seen with the the cluster properties, the NCAS configuration, etc., which I imported. Okay, and you see this is a Grafman bundle. So yeah, just very nice capabilities that is going to come out. The next feature is the Open Telemetry framework. So here I've been pushing some transactions through the platform before the call, okay? And I have logs and traces. So this is a service, if I call it, is going to fail. Okay, so I can basically, call the service here. Let me test free. Okay, okay, I have a routing failure in my gateway. You can see here in my gateway, in the policy manager, if I cancel here, you will see my API here. I have no, the test, it's the test service, sorry, test free. Here I'm routing to an unknown backend, okay? So if I go back here to my dashboard, I see here my transaction, which I just sent through a platform. And here, when I click here, I can see the logs and traces, okay? And I see here a routing to a backend, which is, I can investigate and see the error, where that I'm routing, to an unknown backend. So, here, unknown backend. So, and this is, through the Open Telemetry collector, I send this to the LGTM, so Grafana stack. I could send this to Elastic, Kibana, or any, as I said, any vendor that is supporting the observability framework. One thing that is important is if I go back here to the policy manager, I can see here my cluster properties, and I can configure the way the traces are being recorded. Okay, so by changing, here I'm basically collecting traces for all services, but I could decide by changing this cluster property to collect only the services I want to check. I could configure for this JSON, and this is documented, but I can easily configure what I want to observe and what traces I want to look at. So pretty powerful. No need to restart the gateway. Very very nice capabilities for managing your traces. Here I have another service. I can select the service I'm observing here. Graphman is my GraphQL service. So here I have a set of traces. And if I see here, I have a lot of traces that are being shown, okay, which I can go through and observe. Okay, so pretty nice capability, very strong, very powerful capability. The other one is the AI gateway. So here, we call it AI gateway, but actually something that is enforced with our gateway already. So I have here, I'm connecting from my gateway to my local Olama LLM, and here we know this is available. By the way, we did a video. It's available in our blogs and our Git repo. So if you look here into the rules, okay, we define rules, quota per agent, so we can basically enforce quotas. So this is all reusable, and when you make a query, okay, we basically select ACME LLM, which is a private LLM. So if we ask a question about tell me about Renault cars, for example, okay, I'm here connecting through the LLM, and the prompt is basically being inspected, and it says, I'm sorry, but I'm specializing in provide you answers about Volkswagen car. So I can't tell you what you're asking for. So you have here already a very easy way to control the queries, and also to basically you can, this is a demo, but you can use that already to protect your LLM, and you can say, okay, you basically, we here say who the application is, who the end user is. So in this case, you can control as well, the conception of your I haven't enforced this in my rules here. I haven't enforced my quotas here. All is not being disabled, but I could check the conception of my prompts already. So basically, the gateway acts as a proxy, and as that, it provides you with all the capabilities and features that we already provide, through authentication, authorization, token management, etc., which I talked about. The last thing I want to show you here is let me stop sharing for a second because I'm going to grab a password. Is the intelligence stack. So I'm just connecting here. I log in and I share my screen again. Here we go. So that's the portal. Here you have the intelligence stack, okay, with different rules that were created. So you can say, okay, here we have pre-configured rules, but what are my active gateway, or what are gateway using a specific cluster property, for example, okay, and it basically filters and shows you exactly those policies. I have 17 rules that check what are the rules we have. This is a demo portal. Of course, you have a bit funky stuff here, but gateway licenses expire in the next 180 days. Okay, so you basically have here the ability to create a rule, and I have 0. All my gateways are perfectly fine. There are no gateway, but certificates expire in less than 60 days. Okay, the situation here is a bit different. And you have a couple of certificates that are going to expire, and you can basically also show the different attributes, so the start date, the end date, etc. It's just for, let's apply these, and you see more which gateway. And so we basically connect to one single gateway. It is a demo platform, but we could basically add a new rule. So okay, let's say add an entity. Okay, what do I want to check? So one of the gateway assertion. Okay, here I have all my gateway assertions, the one that I'm using into my policy manager to construct my policies. Okay, so I could basically select one of these assertions. So would show me the services that are using HTTP cookie, for example, okay, or that are using basic authentication. I have no filtering here. I apply, and I have no API using cookies. Okay, but do I have? And you can group and add more conditions. Okay, add entity, add groups, do ends, etc. So a lot of flexibility to create custom rules to basically drill down into your APIs for better monitoring of your platform. So with that, I'm basically going to conclude my presentation. As I said, lots of blogs, papers available on our community. So more than happy, more than recommending you to look at these blogs. And with that, I conclude my presentation. So thanks a lot for your participation. If you have questions, I think we have a few minutes, so more than happy to answer any question you may have.
Thank you so much, Christian, for such a great presentation. Yeah, I can see that we have received only one question. Can we integrate Layer 7 with DLP system?
As I said, yeah, we can we can integrate. We already integrate with ICAP systems, and I see no reason why we wouldn't be able to integrate with the LP system. So reach out. We can drill down further into this question, but I see no reason why we could not.
Perfect.
We have
Great.
the ability, as a proxy, we have the ability to inspect the message content. The platform is being used, as I showed in one use case, for file transfers. We have a couple of customers that are doing file transfers through the platform, so we could inspect and prevent access to those files, with DLP, for example, or secure those files. So no real concerns here.
Great. I think we have a few minutes left. In case any questions, please, you can share it here. Yeah, so for the presentation itself, if you are interested to get it, please share your request to the email that we added here on the chat box, and we will be able to share it with you. Any improvement and drill down options into logging via the PM?
So for logging into the PM, as I said, the current PM is a Java client. The path forward is, in next coming month, over the next 18 to 24 months, we'll be removing PM, the existing Java-based policy manager, and we'll expand the features and functions of the policy manager, especially through the ability to connect through single sign-on for increased protection of the, as you see here, will expand through single sign-on. So that's the way forward, I would say, that our customer will be basically encouraged to use PM2 and yeah, the features that we provide through PM2.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right. I think that's it. We haven't received more questions. Yeah, thank you so much, Christian, one more time. And thank you all for joining us today. Before you leave, we kindly ask you to complete the short survey you will get. Also, the session recording will be shared with you all the soonest. If you would like to explore further or schedule a demo, please reach us at any time at info@mbcom.com. We truly appreciate your time, and we look forward to welcome you in our next sessions. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.